Hello, hello, hello. Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me in this session. I am excited about this session. How to prepare your mind mentally and emotionally in the process of ownership. As you know, I am a transformation coach and a certified brain coach. And a mortgage broker. But there is a mental process, an emotional process that we go through in purchasing a home. And I want to be able to assist you. Maybe you're buying a home now, or maybe in the near future. I will encourage you to do it now while the interest rate is still down. Now, understand how this teaching came along. I was scrolling in a mortgage company review, and I was noticing a lot of client was giving them bad reviews, and I wanted to see why. And I started reading, and the things that the clients was complaining about was normal. But in their mind, they feel like this was bad because we see the mortgage process as a review, like everything's supposed to go this, everything's supposed to do that, but everything that they were complaining about was normal. And I was scrolling down, I'm like, oh my goodness. So people don't understand the mental process. Why do I go through this process while I'm purchasing a home? It is an emotional process. It is a mental process. And if you don't prepare yourself, you will be just like them, giving people bad reviews. And it's really not bad review. They were normal. I want to give you the story how it started. As a mortgage broker, right? I started years ago as a mortgage loan officer. I walked into, as a matter of fact, a mortgage company looking for a receptionist job. This was like in the 80s. I was 5. And at the time, I didn't know anything about mortgages. I didn't know what mortgages was. I didn't know the existence of mortgages. And the owner interviewed me. He said, I think you could make a good loan processor. And I'm looking like, what is a loan processor? And literally on the job training, I was taught the business, how to be a loan processor. The loan processor is actually the person behind the scene from the mortgage loan officer who brings the application, and the loan processor actually process the mortgage loan by ordering your verification of employment, your verification of your bank, your rental verification, your appraisal, any inspection, anything like that. The processor is the one that processed the deal to submit it to the underwriter to approve your deal. The mortgage loan officer are the person that goes out and sell. They get the application, whether from a real estate agent that's selling the property. And the mortgage company, mortgage loan officer, we do the finance. So I started in the back as a processor. So my mortgage loan officer will bring the application in, and I would have to process the mortgage loan from the beginning. Now we're talking about 80s, right? That's mean there was no technology at the time. It was hands-on. And I learned the business hands-on, which I'm grateful for, because not anything bad about the new loan officer, but the technology kind of made you lose the connection with people. I had a connection with the people. The people come in the office to sign the papers. They were calling me. I was talking to them. So there was a connection, and that's how I learned. I learned the business so much that I earned the loan processor of the month in 1987. I've earned that not knowing anything about mortgages. I remember I used to have dreams that files was coming from the ground in the middle of the night, and I would wake up screaming because I was literally drowning in the mortgage business. But what it did, it taught me how to swim. It taught me how to do mortgages. So having that experience, people would say, hey, why don't you become a mortgage loan officer? Now, I'm saying mortgage loan officer is commission only. As a loan processor, I was making a check. But I was already out there. I knew the business. All I had to do was just go get my license. So I got my license. I became a mortgage loan officer. And to my surprise, I became very successful. People knew me already from being a loan processor. Real estate agent knew me. They knew my work. They knew I did a great job. I got loan approved. So I became a mortgage loan officer. Now, as a mortgage loan officer, I worked just as hard. I was unorthodox. I remember the days where now you could email, fax, and anything, attachment of pay stub. We had to go get the pay stub from the clients. And sometimes the client get off work late. I will call them and say, listen, put it in your mailbox. I'm going to drive by and get it. 10, 12 o'clock. I'm in the street going to pick up pay stub, bank statement, whatever it is that I'm asking for, or go into their house or go into the mailbox, going to pick them up myself. So I became a well-known mortgage loan officer who actually really did the work. I stayed in touch with my client. I walked them through the process of the mortgage, and I made a lot of money, but it wasn't my intent. My intent is to help people to purchase home that could not buy a home or felt like they could never buy a home. And I've gotten a satisfaction when I close the deal, and to see the smile, to see the relief in their heart that we actually own a home. That was number one for me. That just did it for me. So the money came after. So the love of the mortgage was in me. And I was considered an educator in mortgage because I believe in educating my clients. So I had a lot of mortgage buying education seminars, teaching them how to go about the loan. And at the time, I didn't know anything about brain certification. I didn't know anything about transformation coach. And I was just learning mortgages. And I remember, this is old days, right? I believe I have a picture. I'm going to show you my old days of mortgage processing. And I remember I used to have an old car. At that time, the police had impounding cars, and I purchased one. So it looked like almost like a police car. And I put a tag in front of it, that mortgage education. So they thought I worked for the government. So a lot of people were calling me, and I ended up having mortgage education. And I've gotten a lot of clients. So this is where I started. This was my beginning of mortgages. So I didn't just come in the business. I started as a mortgage loan processor. I understand the background of it, but I also understanding the changes that took place from the 80s, 2024. As I said, I was 5 years old. So there's a lot of changes that took place. And do you know why? It's because of a lot of bad character in the finance industry, in the mortgage industry. So a lot of changes had to take place because there was so much fraud taking place. Now, the reason it feels like it's intense when we do mortgages, or when you are going through the process, or you may not get approved by someone. As a broker myself, I became a mortgage broker myself because I've had a lot of years experience. So I can become a broker, and I did. So Sunwise Mortgage Company is my company that I am a broker, and I still do mortgage loan, and the lenders who's lending the money are my lenders. So if you don't get approved from one person, I have other lenders that I could take you through. So that's the beauty of being a broker. I love that. So which is different. When the lender tell you no, there's no way around it. As a mortgage broker, if we find no one place, we get it to another place. So the mental process and emotional process, and what I saw online, that the people would complain, I can't believe they asked me for that. I can't believe. See, you have to understand that once you give the information that you are asked for, let's say a pay stub, once you give the pay stub, then there's information on the pay stub that brings the next question. Oh, you didn't tell us you had a loan. You didn't tell us you had a 201k. You didn't tell us that the insurance was coming out of your pay stub. There are different things on the pay stub that could bring about a question. So in your mind, as a buyer, you're thinking, hey, I'm buying a home. You asked me for a pay stub. What's the problem? But you don't understand that the paperwork that you turned in could turn into questions. Let's say if you're self-employed, you give your tax return. In your mind, you made $100,000. But when you turn your tax return to IRS, you actually made 20,000 because you have all these deductions. As self-employed, we have to use the amount that you told IRS that you made, not the amount that you actually made. The amount that you told IRS is what we got to use. So you'll get upset. So wait a minute, I made $100,000. I could afford this house. Ma'am, sir, your tax return shows that you only made 20,000. And that is the amount that we have to use for your qualification. So you don't know that. So you get upset because you're like, I made 100,000, and you don't know that we have to use the amount that you report. So that's the reason why I have a lot of workshop to teach people, especially self-employed. If you want to purchase a home, we have other programs that you could go through instead of going to this program using your tax return, because your tax return is not giving the true amount that you made. Right? So, and let's just say you give a pay stub. The pay stub have questions in it. You have loans that you didn't say. You have loans. So, because we have a ratio we have to go by. You have to, for your income and for your debt. So if you tell us you make this amount of money, and then you gave us a pay stub, we see more debt, it was going to bring your ratio higher, which is going to cause you not to qualify for that mortgage. So there's a lot of intents that take place, information that take place. But do know that there's a lot of changes that took place in the mortgage industry because of bad characters. Scams, fraud is incredible. That we have to get our license renewed every year. So we have to go through the classes all over again. And they give us scenarios of fraud that took place like now, fraud that took place in 2023, 2024. And you're like, oh my God, people are doing that. And that's the reason why a lot of changes are taking place. People are, I'm talking about not $5, we talk about billions. And one of the scenario they gave us recently, because this is the season that we have to renew our license every year because it's a finance industry. And one of the examples that they gave us actually happened, I believe it was in New York City, that somebody got arrested, a mortgage company got arrested for actually lying on the application when the buyer was about to close. The buyer lost his job, and the mortgage loan officer knew that, and they continue and let them close. This is after closing. They found out. The mortgage loan officer went to prison and had a fine of $20,000. And when they bailed him out, he was on bail. And they said he went back and did another fraud loan, trying to get money to pay for his attorney. And it's like, you just got arrested and you on bond, and then you do another fraud again. So this is the reason why that our guidelines are continue to change over and over. Yes, it's like in one hand, we want to help people get a loan. We want to help you get a mortgage loan. We want to help you get a house. But then you have those scammers, those bad actors that's coming to do things that's causing the guidelines to continue to change. So unfortunately, yes, if you're working and you know you're doing the right thing, you just give everything that you're supposed to give to the mortgage loan officer. Let's say you give a bank statement. And once you give the bank statement and we see a large deposit of 50,000, 20,000, 10,000 that's above your income, of course, you got to give an explanation where did the money come from. Why? Because there's a lot of fraud, money laundering that's taking place. So we have to explain. So when I have a client and I'm like, if you have money coming from any place, whether it's a gift, the gift have to come from certain people in your family. And I will tell them this is the way you do that, because we have to show proof. We have to do paper trail and go back to whoever gave you the money as a gift, which have to be a family member. It cannot be a friend. It cannot be a boyfriend. It cannot be your next door neighbor. It have to be a close member of your family. And we have to go back to their bank account, to their bank statement, to show paper trail of the money being gifted to you. Yep. because of bad actors. So because of that, people get upset. Oh my God, I just can't believe 1 minute you tell me I'm approved, the next minute you say I'm not. Things happen. Let me tell you why. You get approved, you start celebrating, and you go buy a new car before you close. That's a big no-no. Of course, your approval is going to be taken away from you. And I've seen that in the review. I can't believe that you just bought a new car. So what happened? The debt of the car is added to your debt, and you don't make enough money according to the paperwork that you go above the ratio that we are giving in the guideline, and everything fall apart. Or you go buy new furniture. We see that all the time. And mortgage loan officer and I, we have a group page where everybody's posted, I just can't believe my client just did that. Ooh, closing. Like on their closing day, underwriter will pull your credit to make sure that everything is kosher. And on the closing day, they just say, oh, she just went shopping. She went and bought new furniture. No, you wait till after you close, you have your papers and the keys. Then you can go shopping. But you don't do that as soon as you get approved. And that's what have happened to a lot of people. And then the approval get taken back. Or in the middle of it, they get married before you close. In the state of Texas, depending what state you are, which was like, for me in Florida, it wasn't like that because that's how I started mortgages. But in Texas, it was different. If you're married, both of you have to be on, they have to qualify, both of you. So in the middle of the closing or in the middle of the process, you get married. What happened? Now, if the husband or the wife is bad credit, then it just brings the whole long into a process of stop. Husband and wife have to go clean their credit, or you have to go back and put more money down. A whole lot of things could happen because of that. I've always tell people, when you're buying a home, you literally have to put the button freeze in your life. You just got to literally like, don't you move an inch. Don't you do nothing until you go to closing. You don't change your job. You can't. I was giving someone that scenario. If you're a doctor and then you decide, I want to be a fireman. You can't do that because we have to show 2 years of employment. If you're going to change it, let's say you change to a paramedic, it is the same line of work. So it's okay. But you do something completely different. You're a doctor today, I'm a hairstylist tomorrow. Oh, you can't do that. That's just a whole different ballgame. Exactly. It's very seasonal. I appreciate that. Thank you. So that's why I appreciate starting 87. That's when I got my plat. So no, I understand the guideline, how it go. I could do a mortgage in my sleep because I love the industry. This is, you got to love what you do. So I could understand the mental process of 1 minute you approve, the next minute it's taken away. Why you keep asking me for all these papers I gave you? And if you ask me for one more thing, you have to understand the process. You have to allow. I tell my client, listen, I'm going to ask you for a lot of papers, and the papers that you give me may give me more questions. So I have to come back and ask for explanation letters. I need you to explain why this happened. What does this mean? What is this on your credit? What happened on your credit? You have to be able to give the story what happened. You got a divorce. I need your divorce paper. Oh my gosh, don't let the divorce paper show that you are paying alimony support. If you didn't say that, of course we have to add that. Because if divorce papers show that, and divorce papers show that there is another property that your name is still under, and you're paying for the property, or your name is on it, period. That brings another question. So you have to understand the guidelines are very strict. And when you only give a certain amount of information, and I don't want to say, you have to be transparent with your mortgage loan officer. Transparent to say, okay, this is what's happening. Can I still purchase a home? You can't go and hide, and then it's too late. The loan officer can't really put the program together properly because you try to hide and said, I'm not going to tell him that. I'm not going to tell him this. It's too late. So you need to be, it's like going to the doctor. And I've told that to my client. You have to tell me the total truth because I could move you to a different program. Let's say, for instance, a lot of self-employed people, I give them a different program called bank statement program. So we won't use your tax return because your tax return only show you made 20,000, but you make more money than that. So we have to use bank statement to show your income going through your bank statement, and you can get qualified for that. So if you're totally transparent, I want to say the word honest, you are transparent, it gives the mortgage loan officer the ability to know what program that will work for you. But if you're not, then you wait to the end. It's like, oh, I'm unable to help navigate this. Let's say you're purchasing a property that let's say $300,000, but the property only appraised for 200,000. It's whether you're going to bring the $100,000, which I do not recommend because the property does not have the value, or the seller have to bring the price down to 200,000. So it is a lot of small detail you have to understand, the mental process, the emotional process, that you get happy, you get approved, but don't be so emotional overwhelmed that you start having a party, home party, before the home, before you get your keys. You have to wait till you go to closing, get your keys, make sure all the process are in place, everything plays, then you could celebrate. Otherwise, you're going to give yourself a headache. You're going to you're just going to get frustrated. I don't want to do this no more. Forget it. If you ask me for one more paper, I'm not going to do it no more. No, it goes with the process. It's part of it. You just get yourself ready to be able to give everything that you have. Let's say if you lose your job in the middle of the process, we have to stop the process till you get a new job, but then you have to get a job in the same industry. If you don't, then we have to work out another program for you. If you have student loan, we may have to explain that. Or if you were a housewife and now you're working, we have to explain that you were a housewife, and we have to give an explanation letter. And we have to give a paper trail. We have to be able to give the underwriter. And as a processor, I've learned with my communication, I believe my communication got more intense because as a loan processor, I had to write down and now you could kind of type it. I had to write down everything that is going on with the file. Like if you don't come to work the next day, somebody could pick up your file and know what's going on and say, oh, yes, ma'am, I need this, I need that. We had to write down every conversation and every process. So we give a story to the underwriter. So when we turn in your file, it is a story. The underwriter have to be able to open up your file and read the story about you to see if you can afford this mortgage. Now, if the story showed that you've been late with your rent 10 times out of 12, that's a problem. If it shows the bank statement and you have overdrawn so many times, that's going to tell the story that you cannot afford this home. So you have to understand mentally that the underwriter is looking to see the bank that's giving you this money, 300,000, 500,000, $1 million for your home, needs to know that you can afford to pay this monthly payment. And if you can't afford it, that's when, you get rejected. But so you understand the reason why we ask for so many papers. We ask for you to explain that. We ask for this because we are giving the underwriter a story, which is, of course, the old days underwriters are kind of different than new one. The old days, we used to act like they're gods, right? When we go to conferences and we just cater to them, because if the underwriter said no, our whole deal fall apart. So we used to look at our underwriter like, oh, it was the god of mortgages. Today, underwriters are different. Anybody, underwriters have guidelines they go by. Anybody could be an underwriter. They have to go by the guideline. This is right. This is wrong. I come from the old school where the underwriter use their mind and ask questions. And one of the things I believe that trained me so much, if an underwriter approved my loan or even reject it, and they'll give me the list why, I will go back and say, okay, how can I fix it? What do you need? What should I get? Oh, this is my picture when I started as a processor. So that was the old days. That was like, I think that one was about 10 years later that I was doing mortgage. You see all the files, you see all the paperwork all day long. I had everything up at the time. We had typewriters, we didn't have computers. Okay, that's enough of that picture. I was 5 years old. So I started in the business long time ago using typewriters. So, but I enjoyed it. And every time I looked at a file, I was looking at a story. I know the story about my client. I knew everything that was going on. If they have to pay child support, or if they have to pay child care, or you went to school and you stop and you start working again. Oh, I have to explain everything, and I have to be able to give the underwriter the story about you. And the only thing the underwriter is looking, can you afford to pay us back? That's all they're looking at. Can you afford to pay us back? Because if you can't pay us back, we're going to reject the loan. There's a part, but with me as a processor, I didn't take no that easy. I want to know, what is it going to take to get this client approved? What do you need? What do I need to go get from the client? What can I get from them to change this contingencies? That's what it's called. So you could get approved, but you have about 10 contingencies that you have to do. You got to do this, you got to do that, and we have to go down. Okay, I need you to give me that. I need you to give me this. I need you to give me that. And we have to go get those contingencies clear. And once it's clear, that's when you have a full approval. So you always get approval with contingencies. And the contingencies have to go, okay, client, we need, well, I thought you told me I was approved. Well, it's approved with contingencies. The contingencies, you need inspection on the property. And if the property does not inspect properly, there's a problem. Which is good for you, because you need to know, because you're about to become the homeowner of the house. Then we have different loans, like construction loans, or we call 203K, where you purchase a home and you're also getting money to make repairs. And those loans take about from 6 months to 12 months to do. You got to have the patience for that. So it's not like, well, I'm getting money, I'm getting a grant. Let's say you're getting a 0 down payment. No down payment. There's things you have to go through classes. There's questions that you have to answer. There's different amount of money that you cannot make for you to get approved for 0 down payment. So there's a lot of little details that you have to prepare your mind and your emotion to say, okay, I'm ready. I know I got to go to class. I know I got to answer all these questions. I know once I give you this, you're going to say, oh, this bank statement shows a withdrawal. You had a $10,000 deposit, and then you withdraw $9,000. Where did the $10,000 come from? And why did you withdraw the $9,000 the next day? We have to explain that. Why? Because of fraud. They don't know you. They don't know if you commit fraud. They don't know if you're doing money laundering. They don't know that. So you have to be able to explain that. Now, you may be working for an employer that pays you cash. That's a no-no, because we have to have a pay stub to show proof that you pay your taxes and your Social Security. We have to show proof of that. So if your employer have to give us a handwritten check or some type of document to show proof that you are getting paid and you are paying your taxes. If not, we have to ask for your tax return. And if your tax return doesn't show the real amount, then we have a problem. So you see that it's layers upon layers upon layers. So mentally prepared yourself and said, okay, once I give this is going to happen. Let's say if you're a veteran, you're going to need your DD-214. I don't have my DD-214. Okay, we have to apply for it. You have to go in the website and apply for the DD-214. You have to apply for all of your paperwork to get a VA loan. So this you have to be prepared. It's not just, oh, no, I'm gonna get a loan. I'm gonna get more. If I don't get what, and you have to be prepared. If this underwriter said no, we're not going to give them a loan. As a broker, you have to give us the opportunity to go to someone else, another lender, and said, okay, I have this situation. Can we get this one approved? You have to be willing to do that. Yeah, and I don't want to. No, you have to mentally and emotionally prepare to be patient, to know that somebody is working for you, that's going out of their way to make sure you get the loan. This is what the broker does. A lot of the lenders, if you go to the bank or you go to the credit union, the difference is they're getting paid. So whether you approve or not, they're not going to go out of the way. A broker doesn't get paid until you close. So they're going to go out of their way to make sure you get your loan, but we still have to do it legally. We have to follow the guidelines. Okay, do we have any question? Yes, we have. So we have time for a question. Who have a question for me? Uh President. Okay. If you have a question, please do ask. Please do ask. Don't hesitate to ask question. I really love this. I'm gonna do another one again on mortgages because I believe that there are some people that can buy, don't know they could buy, because I have programs that takes a little bit lower credit scores. And I know there's some programs that you have to have a certain amount of credit score. So let's say this particular no down payment. Okay, that sounds good. Next question, what's your credit score? That credit score may not be approved for that, but it'll be approved for this. So you have to be able to understand. It just can't be, well, you can get no down payment no matter what. No, it have to be, the credit score may have to be a little bit high on this. And if it's low, we have other program that we could take you to. What was the question? Can to maintain a positive mindset when you face challenge during the home buying process? Yes. The first tip that I will give you is you write down everything that you need. Take a look at your own document. Read your own document. If you are ahead of the process and you see, and you call the loan officer and say, I'm looking at my pay stub, and I see this, and that. Am I going to need explanation letters? And what you do, it's almost like changing your mindset to say, okay, this is going to be the process. They're going to ask me questions, and I'm going to have to be okay with it. And I believe that a lot of us suffer with the anxiety of, I want it now. What about it? And you wait, just kind of be still with your mind and just wait till the day you're excited. Good. But be still with your mind until you close. Bring the self-control down and said, I'm not even going to get excited. I'm excited, but I'm not going to get excited until I walk away with my keys. That's when you start doing flips. But before that, just calm yourself down and make yourself ready for questions. Get your mind ready for questions. And sometimes it's good for you to read. Google certain things. There's some guideline that's already on Google. But if you've been working, how long do you need to work? We need to show 2 years of employment. Okay, I have not worked for 2 years. What will I need? So if you have a loan officer like me, all you have to do is just call me. I will give it to you. They give you a list of everything that you need. If you don't have it and you have questions, ask questions. And you'll be able to be ready. Okay, this is what I need to do. This is what I need to do to be ready to purchase a home. This is what I need to get my paperwork together. Or there's some people say, oh my God, I didn't know I could buy now. I thought I had to wait 10 years. No, ma'am, you can buy now. This is the program that's available for you. You have to ask questions. And especially when it comes to, listen to this, your mortgage payment. The mortgage payment that we give you a mortgage payment, principal and interest. Now, we are not in control of the taxes and the insurance. So you have to put it in your mind. Okay, if I say your principal interest is going to be $1,200. Now, what is the taxes in the area where you want to live? We had that. There was a young lady, she was like, no, I want my payment to stay this amount, but then I want to live over here. Okay, over there, the taxes are real high. Well, this real good school for my child, beautiful, but the taxes are high. So you got to be ready. Your tax may be $300 a month. And then the insurance company, you shop for the insurance company that you want. So we give you the principal and interest. But when you see, well, you told me my payment's going to be $1,200. Now I'm looking at here, it's $2,000. Because it including the tax we're not in control of. And also the insurance we're not in control of. Also, if you're getting an FHA loan, there's an extra insurance. It's called mortgage insurance premium that's added in your mortgage. What is that? That is the premium insurance. If you go to foreclosure, that is the insurance that is going to pay the bank. So if you get an FHA loan, which is a government loan, you are going to pay the mortgage insurance premium. Unless you put 10, 20% down, then you won't have to do that. Or you could come back and refinance once you get equity in your property to remove that mortgage insurance. So that's added in your monthly payment. Of course, your tax may be high for 1 year, but when you apply for homestead, it's going to go down. The insurance, you could shop for which insurance that you like. So you have to be mentally prepared to understand that once you get the principal and interest, there's taxes, insurance that's going to add to the payment. Next question. Do you have to have 700, 800 credit score to qualify for a purchase of home? No, you do not. It'd be wonderful if you do, but we have mortgage program that will take credit score. You ready? 500, 580. There's one between 500 and 580. We have a particular program that could help you. And there's some people that their credit is, challenging, and they have the money. So you put a higher payment down and we could still take your low credit. So it's got to be one or the other. You can't have like low credit, no money. You don't have to do nothing. We just give you the keys. And you think the bank's going to give you $400,000 or $500,000. It doesn't work that way. So it's being realistic, sober with the whole process. I don't sell people, oh, you can do this. No, I like to tell people the truth. Let's go in with the truth so your mind could be clear. So when you sign your paper, you know exactly what it is. You told me that. That's the reason why I feel like the benefit for me coming from the old school mortgage, not the new one, the 2020, 2024, and just saying anything just to get people, well, I could just give you a loan and I could give you a loan. I'm going to be honest with you because I need you to keep your home. Because if I'm not transparent and you go to closing, this I can't close because that's too high. I wasted 2 months or so of selling you something that you cannot afford. That is not in my blood. I don't do that. I like to make sure when the person closes, they're going to stay in their home and they go refinance or sell their home and get something much more. What is a manual underwriter? Do you have more discretion to make decision about approval? Yes, we do have AI. Well, there was another question. We do have AI underwriters, but we also have the manual underwriting. Like if a situation, I could ask for, I need you to look at this deal, please. Don't take it to AI because this is the situation. So I have the ability to talk to my underwriter to say, I prefer a manual underwriter on this because we have this situation. So when the person actually going to look at it for it to make sense and say, oh, okay, this is what, why don't you get me that so we could cover this? Why don't you get me this piece of paper? Ask the client this. Okay, we need one more of this. And sometimes it could be that the client need a co-signer because of things that we find in the deal. And we have to get you a co-signer as someone that have better credit than you, or someone that could give you more income to purchase this house. You have to be ready for those type of transition to get you the deal. It's not purchasing a home is not it's not a vacation. But it's worth it. Next question. What if I have a business and a job? Can I still be approved? What would I need to provide for proof of income? Great question. 2 years of income. If you have a job and a business, I could use both. If you have 2 years of your tax return, and then I could verify 2 years of income, we could use both income. But if let's say you just started with your business, it's not 2 years, but it's in the same line of work that you are doing, we could use it as a explanation of extra stream of income, but we don't use it to qualify. You see? And then the tax return, we have to look at it to see how much money you made after depreciation. And what you told IRS, I made 20,000, but I actually made 50,000. So we have to use the amount that you told IRS. So we could use that and then use your job as two jobs. And I had people that had 2 jobs, 3 jobs. As long as we could prove it, like a part-time job with a full-time job, as long as I can prove 2 years of income, we could do that. That was a great question. How long can I expect the home loan processing to take place? It depends on your situation. It could take from we there's no closing that take place in 2 weeks. It could take from maybe less than 30 days if you have everything. Let's say credit score is good, you have your money already in the bank, we could verify your job, we ordered the appraisal, you could close less than 30 days. But if we have situation that we have problem this, we have to fix that, it could take up to maybe, it depends on your situation. But if you have everything that you need, everything that I asked for, you give it to me, and I don't have to go through a week of you being depressed and I don't want to do this, and you wasting time that we could just let's go through. And I had a situation. It was a refinance right before closing. I think I'm still traumatized by it. Right, we went through so much work. Right before closing, we found out there was a down payment program that she went through, but they've told her you don't have to pay for it. But someone did not fully explain that the down payment program of zero down payment is money that particular program that the government lend to you, but you don't have to pay it back until you sell the property or until you refinance. So we were doing a cash out refinance, so we had to pay that down payment. So that took money from her and added her mortgage to be a little bit higher. So that was the first problem. So we had to go through that, and I don't want to. Okay, we went through that for a few days. Now we ready to close. Something else happened. The underwriter pulled the credit, and her son went out to do, I think, got panel in his house and used his mother as a co-signer. But she said she didn't know nothing about it. And he said, well, I didn't know they was going to use her name. And the whole deal fell apart because now it brought her mortgage a little bit more higher. By the time she finished, she had less money in mortgage, and then she just would not go for that. And with refinance, you do have time to say yes or no after you close. But she didn't even get to the point of closing. So I'm still traumatized about that because you cannot do these things. It looks like, why would you go get pan? So these things happen. So you have the proper thing would have been at the time, but she was so discouraged and just said, never mind. We could have worked it by getting some paperwork from the company to say, I did not consent for her to be on there. She should not be on there. Remove her name. But it seems like I probably would never get to the bottom of what actually happened, but the loan never closed. So these things happen, especially that's the reason why you have to get educated. You can't just sign. When I was a processor and became a loan officer, I did a lot of refinance at my church because people were getting loan and the mortgage company did not tell them that they had a balloon loan. It was not a fixed rate. So I got a lot of clients that came to me, oh my God, I just find out I got to go pay this money. And I had to refinance them into an FHA loan fixed rate and took care of it. And there was no foreclosure. So I did a lot of loans. So that's what really gave me my heart. And I got to educate people because you can't sign papers and you don't know what you're signing and you're signing your life away. So I took care of a lot of refinance from balloon loan to fixed rate. You got to make sure you're getting a fixed rate unless you could afford a balloon, unless you're planning to just be at the property at a certain time. Usually people maybe that work in temporary or they're leaving the country or they're leaving the state at a certain time, then you can buy a buy down or a balloon loan and you're going to sell the property. But if you're planning to stay there, do not do adjustable rate. You get fixed rate. And then you sell your property later. So that's what I recommend because I help a lot of people out of that type of trauma. What was the next question? How can first-time home buyers cope with feelings of uncertainty or fear during the home buying journey? Well, if you have a mortgage loan officer like myself, you won't have to worry Because and I think by me being a certified coach, I understand how to work with the mind. I understand what you need to know to relax your mind and know this is the process. First of all, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna be very transparent because I don't, I've telling people I'm too old to remember the lie I told yesterday, so I can't remember the lie. So I might as well be honest. That's the other reason is you will have more trust in what I'm saying if you know I'm going to be honest with you. But I understand in the mindset what you need to hear to relax you. Because I had plenty of people say, "Oh, now that you explained it, I feel better." So a lot of people feel anxiety first time home buyer because they don't know and they're scared to ask. Don't be afraid to ask the question. Once you understand, and if you don't understand, do not be afraid. Say, "I don't understand." Then the person should be able to explain it to you. Yeah, sometimes, especially the new loan officers, nobody wants to take time out to explain people. I'm old school. I want to make sure you understand it so you can keep your household. So you can keep your house for a long time. And like for instance, reverse mortgage. A lot of older people, especially African American, are afraid of reverse mortgage. Why? Because people are not explaining the reverse mortgage. They just explain, oh, they're gonna take your house. Oh, you got, and they don't understand it's not true. Understand that, let's say reverse mortgage, your parents may be sitting in a house, they could get a reverse mortgage. Reverse mortgage meaning they're reversing, instead of you making a payment, they're going to receive a check every month based on the appraised value of their house. And you sitting with a home that's paid for, you could be getting a check until the parent passed. But because of lack of understanding, or because of little bad character of people that took advantage of senior citizen, and it caused the whole community to start being afraid, and you sitting in a house that could bring you money every month, but because of false information, you decide, no, I'm not going to do that, they're going to take my house. Let me tell you this. Once you get a reverse mortgage, they're not there to take your house. But you got to make sure that you don't go in the senior home. If you do go in the senior home, they're going to recall the loan, but they're going to give you time whether to sell the property or to refinance it. Or if you're not taking care of your property, you have to take care of it. You can't, have the property and the grass grew 6 feet. It looks like it's abandoned. They're going to come and check once in a while to make sure it's not abandoned, right? So you have to make sure you take care of the property. They ask you to make sure you pay your taxes every year. Make sure you pay insurance on the property. So with the money that you're getting, you still could pay your taxes, because you got to pay your taxes anyway, whether you get that money or not. And then you got to keep up with your insurance. That's it. And you get your money every month. And something happened to you, or whether it's one spouse or the other, if one spouse died, they're going to continue to give the money to the other spouse. If both parties die, you have a certain amount. Sometimes they give you 6 months to a year to sell the property or to refinance the property. But because people have lack of information and misinformation, we have a lot of senior citizens that's sitting in their house. They could be getting a check every month, but because people are not educating and telling them this is not true, this is not going to happen, and they heard maybe the children did it without telling them and took money out the property, because that happens sometimes, and they just give the whole reverse mortgage a bad name. But it's not true, and it's there to benefit you. What's the next question? Uh, how can a homeowner continue to support their mental and emotional health after they purchase a home? That is my next session. I want to talk about that after you become a home ownership. The difference, you have to transform your mind from being a renter to a homeowner. So you have to really become a subscriber to my YouTube, and we're going to have this another session specifically for that. Okay. Do you offer other home buyer pre-counseling opportunity for first time home buyer? I sure do. As a certified coach, I teach people in every single level of their life, because anything that you do, you have to transform and renew your mind and have a different view, a different perspective. I guarantee you it will not be stressful. It would, if your mind is transformed and you speaking to somebody that understand the business and I know how to explain it to you. And I met a lot of loan officers that don't know what they were doing. They just be straight up. And I'm like, oh my God, how did you get into this business? How do people give you mortgage loan? Some of them talk to you like they're, I would call them like they're stockbrokers. And you go, and you're like, what you said? What was that? And you don't know what they're saying. So you also have to be able to get someone that can take the time to educate you about your mortgage, to give you an explanation. This is what will happen, especially construction loan. Because I had a client, I had construction loan. Their husband was the one that was doing the construction because he was a professional construction. I had to show papers. I can't just say, well, your husband's gonna do the work and that's it. No, we need proof. We need to be specific about, I need to turn this in, and it had to be approved first before we go on to the next step. So you can't rush them. I got my papers. No, understand that if they, your uncle is the contractor, your family contractor. No, we need to show paperwork. We need to show that this is legit. We need to show, yes, you're going to do this work and this is what's going to happen. And before we draw the money, because we give you money between. And we want to make sure that we're giving this money to an actual company that's actually building the home. So we have to do inspection between that time. If something go wrong or something is not, we have to tell you, listen, this is not going to work. We need to do this. We need to do that. What do I need to do? Okay, this is what you need to do. So instead of getting upset, ask the mortgage loan officer, okay, what do I need to do? How do I fix that? Is that fixable? What is my other option? And be ready to hear the other option instead of getting upset because you're wasting time. You could be been approved, been in your house by now. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. Calm yourself down and ask questions. You get someone like me, I would take time out and I would educate you and I would tell you, this is what you're going to need. This is what you need to do. Now, remember, I may call you for this. I may ask you for that. So be ready. You may get an email. You may get this. And if you get something, don't get upset. Oh, somebody just emailed me. Yeah, patience is very important. Okay, what does the email say? What are we going to do? It's okay. This is the procedures. This is, well, what does this mean? Don't ask the question like you ready to faint. Ask the question like you ready for an answer and clarity. So I don't know why these people send me that. I don't know. Oh my God, is really gonna wait? Ask the question. So what does this mean? So you mean this shows that how much money I'm gonna pay, and sometimes you could look at the amount and you buying a home 300,000. The APR showing that it's $1 million. Now that's what it's gonna be in 30 years. That is that we can't. Oh, I don't want to do that. But then, ma'am, then you won't be able to purchase the home. Or if you have like 30% down or 50% down, then this figure is going to change. Right? So you ask the question, ready to hear the answer, ready to hear what is my other option? What can I do to fix this? How can I fix that? Okay, I was in the service. I don't have this and I have that. Or my wife is a veteran. I'm not a veteran. Can I purchase a home? Can I do this question and be ready for the answer? What is my option? Okay. When you get somebody like me, it'll be you that's patient enough with you that will give you good answers and realistic. You pick the new, and I don't have nothing against the new loan officers, but if I train a loan officer, because I do train loan officers, if I train them like the old school loan officers, not the new ones, because there need to be some connection between you and your buyer. That you need to gain a trust with them and be honest and transparent. And then so they'll be able to ask questions. So any question? Don't forget to become a subscriber to my YouTube. Thank you for being so detailed with sharing the powerful information. Thank you so much for joining me and listening. I appreciate that. And this is one of the things that I love to do. And so this is so easy for me to do. And if you want to become a mortgage loan officer at Sunrise Mortgage, I'm training mortgage loan officer to want to become mortgage loan officer, even real estate agent. Now it's legal. In the old days, it was not legal. You only do one. Now the time have changed. You could be a real estate agent and a mortgage loan officer, right? So mortgage, yeah, you could visit my website, Sunrise homeownership.mortgageservices.com. It's right on the screen. And visit my website. Whether you want to become a mortgage loan officer or you want to purchase a home and you want to move. I even have reviews from people that I've done mortgage from years ago. They came back and said, oh my God, she really helped me. That's the name of the game for me. For me to see the satisfaction of you being so happy that you own a home. You didn't think you could own a home and you did. So this beautiful. We have all type of loan. Oh yeah, that's another picture. When I was a loan officer. Oh my God. I was 5 years old. Oh my goodness. Oldies but goodies from the good old days. Yep. I really enjoy this industry. This industry is really, I'm just like everything I do, I love, right? So get in touch with me. You could reach me, sunrisemortgageservices.com, and reach out to me. Let me know if you want to purchase a home or if you want to become a mortgage loan officer. So don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube because I'm going to do another one, changing the mindset from a renter. Oh, I'm going to have some doozies for you to a homeowner. I'm going to have some doozies for you. You hear me? Because I've seen the mentality of a homeowner. Like, what? You a homeowner? You acting like you're renting. You're not acting like you own this house. I am telling you. But, thank you very much. I appreciate you. Yes, 5 years old. I was just a big baby. So don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube. And if you have a mortgage company or an insurance company or whatever company that have to do with mortgages, and you want me to come and train your processors, I'll be more than happy to do that. Even your loan officers, I could train them for them to be more personal with your client instead of, yeah, I already started. I mean, some loan officers is like, oh my God, why did you get into this business? Take your time and explain. This is a big financial decision people are making, probably one of the biggest one. So you have to be able to walk them through the process. It's not that easy. Who buys $500,000-$600,000 house like it's a piece of candy? So you just got to be sensitive to stuff like that. So thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate you. Subscribe to my YouTube and you will see other things in there that you'll be happy to hear. And we're going to do the changing the mindset from a renter to homeowner. You gotta come, right? I think we should go to all the people that's renting. Make sure they come because they need to prepare themselves. Because when you get used to renting, it's a different animal when you own your home. So share it. This is my website, sunrisemortgageservices.com. So go on my website. Let me know. As a matter of fact, you leave me a review about this session. Let me know how much you enjoyed it. And so go on my review on sunrisemortgageservices.com. Let me know if this information has been a great help for you. That's why the reason I have on my mortgage website, mortgage education event, because I believe in educating my clients. You have to be educated so you go in there with your eyes wide open. There won't be no surprises whatsoever. So you could smile after you finish closing and you can walk into your house and say, we made it. We're walking in with our boxes, you, your husband, your wife, your children. And it's just like, now you can have a real party, right? So, but I appreciate all of you. Thank you for joining me. You have yourself an absolutely great night. Until the next workshop, we're going to have next workshop. So subscribe, okay? And share. You are welcome to share this video on your page, your group, your business. Share this information because people are buying home now. The interest rate is down. And you know what? There's going to be more money available for you to purchase your home. Yep. More money is going to be available very soon. So get ready. I'm telling you, this is a perfect time. And let me just tell you the last thing. When I started in this business, interest rate was 10 and 11%. And people were buying. 10, 11%. So this interest rate people complain about, I'm like, people, We came from 10 and 11. I have closed many loans, 10%, 10 and a half, 11. I'm telling you, that's where I came from. So this interest rate here, 3%, 4%. Oh, why is 5%? Oh, you know, and people were buying. They were buying. I had many, many mortgage closings. So take advantage of it, this low interest rate. So thank you. I appreciate you. Appreciate all of you. Thank you for joining me, and have yourself a great night. sunrisemortgageservices.com. Whether you want to buy or become a mortgage loan officer, reach out to me. I'll be more than happy to help. sunrisemortgageservices.com. You have yourself a super, super wonderful night. Thank you for joining me.